Hi and welcome to the Cult TV Sofa. This is a reaction video of the 6th episode of Season 2 of Babylon 5 called Spider in the Web. Last time we saw a sleeper ship launched from Earth over 100 years ago arrive at the station. It contained 2 cryo chambers, but the occupant of one of them had been murdered. A lurker on the station was more active than usual and claimed that he knew evil was coming to the station. It turns out that he had been a soldier in the war, and whilst on a mission some kind of creature attacked him and his men and killed everyone except for him. This creature was now on board, as it had been on the long lost ship and now on the station. The creature was hunted down and killed by a barrage of PPGs and heavy weapons. And we also discovered that Dr. Franklin was a sex pest that should be removed from his job as soon as possible. So let's see what happens in this episode. I'm going to put any relevant trivia that I find over here, and at the end of the reaction I'll be discussing what happened and my thoughts about it. And I'm going to start it in 3, 2, 1.
And make sure conference room 7 is properly laid out for the TCAR delegation.
6 Yarwood chairs placed precisely 1 meter apart in a star pattern.
2 meters apart, social distance.
Oh yeah, it's been too long.
That's interesting. It's difficult to tell from the angle, but he went in to hug. She kept her arms down, because I was thinking she could hug him, because obviously touch enhances the telepathic ability. So even just the hug would have been uncomfortable for her probably, but she kept her hands down, so she kept the contact to a minimum. I think she did from the angle, and if she did, that's a really nice detail.
Future Corp has to expand beyond Earth, and Mars is the first step.
Mr. Isogi? Amanda Carter, Mars Colony Business Affairs Committee.
So she's helping with some sort of negotiation. Okay, we saw the San Diego wasteland in the newspaper last season. I can't remember what it said, but yeah, there was something about the San Diego wasteland. I think it might have been the anniversary, because there'd been a nuclear explosion, I think. Possibly by terrorists.
13.
All components have arrived safely on Babylon 5.
Commence operation.
That doesn't sound good. They use a special kind of font on their posters. They have different languages on some of them, but the English, whilst it looks cool, is actually really hard to read, just because of the styling of the font. It's not very practical. So it looks cool, but not practical. I think there have even been some spelling mistakes in them sometimes, probably because they're so hard to read for the people making them. Classified cargo. Let's say there were multiple boxes, parcels. There's obviously somebody in them. There's only one, or they're multiple. I'm not feeling 100% today. I've got really bad toothache, and this headset is putting pressure on that side of my face, and it is killing me. But I need to record the video. If you see me making funny sort of movements, it's because my own tongue is kind of moving around my teeth trying to make it feel better.
You have a transmission from Senator Voudreau?
Patch her through.
And we suspect Future Corp is conspiring with her to finance another rebellion on Mars Colony.
Do you have any proof? I understand your concern, but there's not much I can do about it.
Oh, it's a business negotiation.
Just keep an eye peeled and an ear open.
My duties as commander of B5 don't include spying on civilians.
I'll expect to hear from you soon.
It's another time where I'm not sure about the chain of command. Can a senator... She didn't order him to do it, but it was significantly implied that he should be spying on what's happening. Surely she can't. It must come from his... He's a captain, an admiral, or above. I wouldn't have thought a senator can order him to do that. And it's interesting. In the one of the early episodes, I can't remember, of season 2, the president ordered him to hand over the guy who shot Garibaldi in the back. Second episode of season 2, it must have been, and all of the associated evidence, and he did completely willingly, because he came across as the kind of guy who would follow orders. I mean, it's the president asking. So he did hand it all over straight away. Whereas now, senators asking him to do something. He's been on Babylon 5 a bit longer. He's questioning things. So he isn't someone who blindly follows orders from above, if a senator is above. He thinks things through, and he said it's not my jurisdiction to do that. So it's interesting to see that sort of thing coming through.
Mars has resources the alien worlds need. Now, they in turn can supply an economic base which will enable the colony to become self-sufficient within 10 years.
They'll need concrete assurances from the alien world.
Actually, he kind of is negotiating to try and get them to split from Earth. So she's actually not wrong.
That's one of the reasons why I suggested Babylon 5 for this meeting. All our prospective partners have representatives here.
Okay, so they're kind of going to try and get negotiations in principle sorted out, make sure people are on board in principle, in theory, and then that's extra leverage to be used by her to the government. Good idea. Well, as long as he gets the answers he wants.
She likes the idea. She has her doubts, but basically she likes it.
Surprised she's been so okay with it all, because she's psycho. I would have thought she'd probably have to report this kind of stuff back to them, especially something as big as helping to break Mars away from Earth, Mars independence. So it seems a bit odd that she's so on board with it all.
I think we'll be seeing the Tikar on Babylon 5 soon.
And I believe you were the one who made first contact with him?
Yes. Made me realize just how wondrous this galaxy of ours really is.
That's interesting. Agamemnon's one of the Earth's biggest battle cruisers. So the fact that it was out in an unexplored area of space and it made first contact, and he, as a captain of a battle cruiser, made first contact, he negotiated. It's interesting that he was in that position and he did it obviously successfully, and they're now coming on board. I was kind of thinking, because it's a battle cruiser, how unrealistic that would be. But then, rightly or wrongly, I was thinking about Star Trek, and obviously the Galaxy class starships, huge. It was designed for exploration, but it is a heavily armed ship as well, and it goes out there and makes first contact, and the captain is diplomatic, and so it is comparable. I'm just surprised that they would send a big battle cruiser out into unexplored space. I'd have thought they would send out more sort of scout ships for that kind of thing, and keep the larger ships slightly more in the inner. I don't mean literally round Earth, but close enough that they can go to wherever they're needed. But I suppose there's no war on at the moment. They are kind of in a time of peace, so.
Free Mars.
Surprised she's not using her psychic powers in some way. Call for help.
I scanned several Free Mars people during that time. But this man was different. There was no thought of a cause in his head, no anger, no emotion of any kind.
So what reason would Free Mars have for killing your client?
None. Taro's proposal was a peaceful solution to the Mars problem.
Free Mars being framed to stir things up.
Mars was his dream, Captain. Now he's been murdered for it, and you're trying to cast the blame on him.
I'm sorry.
So I would assume that that guy who murdered her friend was one of the ones shipped in that case, or the one shipped in the case.
Code acknowledged. Report.
Phase 1 complete.
Download all mission data, then erase source file.
Seems a bit weird to be doing that in a public place. So he's got cybernetic hand that can transmit data.
Control states Ms. Winters could jeopardize mission. Eliminate her.
I want you to hold all outgoing traffic until further notice. There's been a murder, and I don't want the killer jumping station.
But this seems a fair bit of time after this murder's happened. Somebody could already have left the station. I mean, it's been at least... Talia was with the guy who was killed, and the murderer walked off. Next time we see Talia, she's talking to the captain. Well, in that time, she would have had to have... I mean, security would have arrived, there'd have been discussion, she probably would have gone to security first of all, then to the captain's office, had that talk. We're talking... probably half an hour, I would have thought, until she was speaking to the captain. And now he's gone from his office to there. 40 minutes, I should think. If he timed the murder right, he could have murdered the guy and then been on board, and they could have left easily by now. So that seems a bit weird. The first thing to do, a murder on the station, security would shut down. He shouldn't have to order it. Security should have... well, at least told the captain immediately, and then the captain could have ordered no ships to leave. So that seems odd.
But we do have an eyewitness, Talia Winters.
Was she hurt?
Fortunately not.
Why would the killer want to witness? Because he said Free Mars. He wanted that information to get out. But now they know it's a telepath that saw. Now she's a risk.
Aside from Ms. Winters' interesting quality, do you think she can be trusted?
Yes, except she's very loyal to Psychor.
And you don't trust Psychor?
No. Do you?
Pause a second before he answers, because we haven't seen him really having an interaction with Psychor yet. That was all done with Sinclair. I'm getting the names right. So it'll be interesting to see what his answer is and what his experience has been with Psychor so far.
Telepaths are gifted and cursed in ways I can never hope to understand.
Very true.
I trust in individuals, not organizations.
Then you may trust Ms. Winters.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and I think I actually agree with that. Yeah, trust an individual, not an organization. Yeah, that makes sense, and I agree.
Mr. Sogi was murdered last night.
What?
Okay, so she doesn't know. She looks surprised.
Senate? Mars conglomerate? They'd be the most opposed.
It's going to be somebody with power and money to ship somebody like... well, to ship someone like that on board the station in the first place. He's obviously had cybernetic implants. That's not going to be cheap. So yeah, Senate or the Mars conglomerate, it makes sense. So the person will seem to be behind it or running it is on Earth in an abandoned place on Earth, a San Diego wasteland where no one else will be. But they seem to have a lot of tech. So it does point more towards Earth than Mars.
Whoever killed Taro Isogi killed Mars' best hope for the future.
And that points more towards Earth again. He's walking like a robot, like he's being controlled, or maybe not in control. That's a better way of putting it.
Forensics said Isogi's body was hit with a massive electrical charge. Now, this is high tech, and definitely not standard Free Mars issue. A power source that would generate that big a charge should show up on scanners.
Well, if it would... a power source, they're discussing how it got on board because it would show up on scanners. Well, They know it's on board now, and if it's powerful enough to do that, why aren't they scanning now and checking for big power sources moving around the station where they shouldn't be?
Hey,
He strikes again.
what have they done to me?
Okay, so he's being used. We keep seeing an Earth battle cruiser shooting at a ship, I assume, that blows up from his perspective. So he's, well, died or been severely injured in a Earth fight with an Earth ship, and they captured him or recovered him, and they're using him. I assume sort of mind wipe of some kind, but he seems to be stuck in that place, and then when he's going to kill, he's just maybe constantly broadcasting that one little bit, and when she saw it, he saw it as well, and it's making him stop. Yeah, don't know the ins and outs yet, but he's not in control, basically.
That's him.
Yeah, he's Free Mars, all right. One of their leaders, in fact. Name's Abel Horn.
I want him, Mr. Garibaldi.
So do I, but there's a problem.
He's
According
dead.
to Earth Force intelligence, Abel Horn is dead.
And now he's a puppet. Ah, damn. I was trying to read that. It's too quick.
It's been a long time.
I thought you were dead.
I have to get back to Mars, and you're the only one who can help me.
I am finally in a position to help with Mars independence. If anyone found out I was once a member of Free Mars...
Which just might come out.
Blackmail.
I've changed.
Yeah, you have. So is he going to try and kill her, but he's fighting back?
There's only one way in here, and I have a full detail on it. It would take an army to get to you. If you need to go somewhere, call the guard post and they'll assign an escort.
I never really knew my father. Or my mother. I was raised by Psychor from the time I was 5.
God, that's sad.
The first day, I was crying all the time. I was scared and confused and hurting.
Yeah, a 5-year-old taken away from your parents.
Project Lazarus? Never heard of it.
Then using telepathic deep scan, the subject was fixated on the moment of his death. The computer takes complete control, while the subject is dying over and over again in his subconscious.
God. Surprised he knows about this.
Are you saying Horn is one of these cyber zombies?
Or maybe Talia Winters touched something in him. I think it's playing havoc with his programming. But if it's true, there should be a way to locate him.
I should do what I said and look for a big power source that's moving.
I'd like to make a transmission to Miss Talia Winters.
Working.
Oh. So was the way he reacted a ruse to get Talia to come to her? Which means he can then attack her? Or was it just a happy coincidence that's worked out like that?
So you'll meet with me?
Yes. In a half hour?
Amanda, I knew you'd help me.
Abel, all I did was...
Was it just the two parts of him, the human him and the cyborg part of him, actually their goals were aligned. One was to kill her, the other was to speak to her.
The computer power crystal emits a low level of a benign radiation. Now, it wouldn't ordinarily show up on the environmental scanners.
But changed them specifically.
Ms. Winters is requesting an escort for a business meeting in Red 7.
With who?
Amanda Carter.
That's a go, Zach.
It's another door that is going that way rather than swinging up and down. When they went into the quarters of the woman earlier, I noticed the door slid up and slid down. So again, I can't work out why some slide across and some slide up and down. I don't know what the difference is. Why are they different?
They can kill a good man, but not a good idea. Take your time. We'll be right here.
You're not going to go in first and check check it out, make sure it's safe. That's a bit weird. Door slides down.
Tell me, please. Please.
Psychor. Got Psychor badge on. Yes. Also cop.
All ours.
They operated on you. Rebuilt you. There was a psychop.
Psychop.
Our perp's inside. Get him, but get him alive.
That's really incompetent. They didn't search it. They're at such high alert, and they guard her everywhere she goes, but they let her go into a room without checking it first. That's really incompetent.
A fire.
She can send something to him to make him let her go. Disrupt him for a second. We've seen telepaths do that before, send pain, that one telepath sent, just to stop somebody for an instant.
Mars will never be free until the sands run red with Earther blood.
Death by cop.
Damn it.
Oh, yeah, run. Oh, that's a cool effect. You saw like his skull appearing. I hope that those quarters weren't on the outside of the hull. That was quite a big explosion. It could have blown a hole through the hull. I'm guessing it was more indoors.
No trace.
Yeah.
No evidence.
Wipe it all away.
You said Taro Asoki's plan was the best hope for Mars. Well, then continue to negotiate with Future Corp. Make that happen.
Push it through. That's true. I mean, yeah, right, it was the one bloke pushing it through, and and trying to Sagi trying to do it all, but just because he's gone, there's no reason it can't carry on.
I'll be glad to speak to them for you. I'll make it clear that your government had nothing to do with the murder.
Again, I'm surprised she'd do that, or Cycle would let her do that.
We'll talk later.
Oh, that contradicts what I said earlier. She is now hugging her with her arms on her. So yeah, that disregard what I said at the beginning. If she did that to a stranger, she would have hugged a friend.
I saw an image, some sort of an operation.
Location, face, uniform?
No.
Yeah, she did. But she's keeping it to herself.
But let's start with how you knew about the Lazarus Project.
Yeah.
I collect secrets. Black projects.
How would he collect that information?
But promise me this information will never be repeated outside this room.
I don't promise.
Rogue agency operating deep inside EarthGov. Bureau 13.
So Babylon 5 has Bureau 13. Star Trek has Section 31. Very... I mean, that's just a mirror image. That is a copy. And from what I understand, J. Michael Straczynski gave one of the TV producing companies his Bible for Babylon 5, and then they turned it down, and then not soon after Deep Space Nine sort of popped up. So the implication is that they used a lot of information that he had about Babylon 5 to make Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I don't know how true it is or how much of it is true, but that seems a very literal copy in both shows. So,
There is a spider in the web, Mr. Garibaldi, and I intend to find it and kill it.
Hard to do from Babylon 5.
13 out.
So that's the one we saw in his vision or dream.
Match found.
That's her. A lot of that going around at the moment, isn't there? People dying and coming back. So I suppose now the question is it Psychor running Bureau 13 and she's in there running it on their behalf? or is she just an ex-Psi Corps individual who has started Bureau 13 or was running Bureau 13? I guess we will find out more later. It was an all-right episode. It was not good or bad, to be honest. I suppose it was interesting because it has now it's introduced Bureau 13. So we'll sort of see what happens there. Yeah, I don't really have anything positive or negative to say about it. It was security were very incompetent. So if you're protecting someone and you go into a room, even though the individual has been cleared to meet the person you're protecting, you still go in, even just for a second, just to poke your head round, make sure there's nobody else in there. That's just absolute basic protection. That was ridiculous. And to be honest, I think Garibaldi, as he was there at the time especially, I think he deserves a reprimand. That's incompetence. That wasn't good at all. Yeah. Let me know what you thought about this one in the comments below, and I shall see you for the next one. Be seeing you.